President Donald Trump says Iran and Israel are moving towards resolving its war. Trump says they have agreed to a ceasefire that will be phased in over the next 24 hours. It comes after Iran's retaliatory strikes on U.S. troops in Qatar. President Trump is now warning Iran not to retaliate. The president says no Americans were injured or hurt in those strikes. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
I'm Alexandra Lewis. Iran said the attacks in Qatar matched the same number that the U.S. dropped on their nuclear sites over the weekend. U.S. officials say they had been notified of threats against U.S. bases in Qatar and other countries. Qatar's defense ministry said its air defenses successfully intercepted all but one of the missiles in the attack. Officials said there were no reported casualties. The UN nuclear watchdog agency says it's unable to confirm the location of Iran's uranium. The White House is insisting that the U.S., quote, totally obliterated the nuclear sites. Meanwhile, Qatar has condemned today's attack, calling it a violation of its sovereignty.
Okay, we're going to keep a track on the weather. It's a little cloudy, so much cooler today, Kathy. We really noticed that, especially after 100-some degrees.
Oh my gosh, it was like a major heat wave for 3 days. We had 99 degrees on Friday, 98 Saturday, 93 yesterday, and then last night in came the cold front that brought in the moisture that you can see out there in the form of haze and cloud cover and brought temperatures down into the 60s and 70s. Tomorrow is the day we're concerned about severe storms with hail and damaging wind. We're going to issue a weather impact alert for tomorrow. So protect plans and cars and bring things in tomorrow if you can. We are tracking thunderstorms tonight. There's enough moisture with that front that came in. Temperatures really nice though ahead of it. 73 at 9 News, 76 at DIA, and 80 in Pueblo. So we are some, 15 to 20 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. Some storms on the radar though. We have a little bit of development west of I-25, waiting to see if these storms cross into the city. Severe storms along the Colorado-New Mexico line, storms with the potential for hail and damaging wind gusts of 50 and 60 miles per hour. These severe storms are tracking northeast into southern Colorado, so we're watching those pretty closely, along with the increase in wind. After a brief break, we're now looking at elevated fire danger again across the western slope due to the warmth, the increase in wind, and the lack of real available moisture that we're seeing here in Denver for available thunderstorms over the next 2 to 3 hours. So even though it's calm and quiet out there for now, we still think we're going to see some storms yet this evening. Temperatures in the 70s will drop into the mid-60s late this evening. Weather headlines, a cool start to the week, but for how long? And then we're tracking the storms tonight, which will be an increase in severe threat for tomorrow. We'll talk much more about the weather impact alert and the timing coming up.
A college student is no longer in ICE custody, and now she's describing her experience in custody at the detention facility in Aurora. A Mesa County deputy pulled over 19-year-old Caroline Diaz-Goncalves for following a truck too closely. He let her off with a warning, and shortly after, ICE agents pulled her over and detained her. Goncalves was born in Brazil but was raised in Utah. In a statement, she said the last 2 weeks were the hardest of her life. She said she was given soggy, wet food. She went on to thank her friends and her family for their support. She says she will try to move forward and just focus on her healing. The Mesa County Sheriff's Office says the deputy involved in the initial traffic stop is on administrative leave after he used a group chat to share information that led to the woman's detention. That's against state law. A woman who faked her credentials to become a licensed psychologist has been sentenced to multiple years behind bars. Shannon McShane pled guilty to 2 felony counts and 1 misdemeanor charge.
She admitted to falsifying her credentials to handle dozens of child custody cases. 9 News' Amanda Gilbert was at her sentencing today, and Amanda, you spoke to some victims.
I did, and the sentencing lasted a little over an hour. Her defense and prosecutors painted 2 different images of Shane Terrell, also known as Shannon McShane. So McShane entered court today and left in handcuffs. The judge said her lie about getting a PhD in England is a big deal because she went on to work for the Colorado court system. She would evaluate parents in custody cases and make recommendations on which parent got custody. Cameras were not allowed in court today, but McShane did give a statement. She cried, saying she was deeply sorry. 2 victims say sorry's not enough because her decisions affected families from custody to visitation.
So her standing up there and giving those little crocodile tears, that means nothing. She's not remorseful.
If you don't have the credentials, if you're not going to be honest, if you can't operate with integrity, then you don't belong in this profession. And I think that the judge made that clear today.
McShane's attorney did not want to comment. The judge sentenced McShane to 2 years in prison for each of the 2 felony convictions, plus a year in jail for the misdemeanor. Amanda Gilbert, 9 News.
Yeah, it was a really tough case. So many families, and when you think about it, the emotional involvement alone and the way families are shaped and decisions made because of what she did.
Yes, the word vulnerable was used a lot today in court.
I believe it. I believe it. Thanks, Amanda. A Denver jury has convicted a man of manslaughter after he stabbed his uncle to death. Court documents show they were arguing over a bottle of hot sauce. According to court documents, George Vigil told police his uncle punched him in the head, so he stabbed him. Vigil is facing 2 to 6 years in prison. His sentencing is scheduled for August 22nd. This isn't the first time he's been accused in a deadly stabbing. A jury acquitted him after he was arrested for the stabbing death of another man.
Colorado Springs police shot and killed a man they say fired at them first. CSPD says officers first responded to a call of shots fired around 1 a.m. on Michelle Court. When they got there, they found a man holding a gun. Police say he refused orders to put that gun down. Then he pointed it at them and fired at least 1 shot. That's when 2 officers fired back, hitting the man. CSPD says the man died right there on the scene. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office is now taking over the shooting investigation. A driver is in the hospital tonight recovering after a fiery crash near I-76 in Tennyson. Adams County fire officials say this happened last night about 9 o'clock. They say the driver was going too fast when they attempted to exit the highway, crashing through the guardrail and landing below on Tennyson. Officials say the truck then exploded. No word yet on how that driver's doing tonight.